because I didn't record the other one. So I will be posting this for people that couldn't attend. If you have questions, don't hesitate to stop me in the middle or put them in the chat or ask me at the end, whatever you're most comfortable with. This will not take long, so we'll go ahead and get started. And then most importantly, we just want to get your questions answered. So you guys can all see my slide? Okay, great. So the first thing we're going to talk about is affiliation. I just want to give you a gentle reminder that any kid that's going to compete in a competitive event, whether that's STAR events or state projects, you need to make sure they are affiliated. I know we have some schools that are waiting a little bit longer to affiliate, and that's totally fine. I think that's not a bad plan for this year, considering everything that we have going on. But I just want to make sure that you get your students affiliated so that when we go in to check, we know that they are there and able to enter competitive events. And Aaron, you're just joining us just to let you know we are recording this session, and feel free to ask questions, okay? Next, I'm going to talk about competitive events. So we are going to approach competitive events in a hybrid format. And what that means is that STAR events are going to be done live like you would be presenting at state conference, but it's going to be over Zoom or Google Meet. They will have 3 judges. The judges will evaluate the STAR events, interact with the student, just like state conference. The cost is going to be $15. Now, I will say that we are not going to require STAR event people to register for a conference cost too. So if you have a kid that just wants to do a STAR event, their cost is just $15. The other thing that's a significant difference is that you are going to pick 1 or 2 days for your students to compete, and these events will be held after school. So we figured from a planning standpoint for the teacher, having your students on 1 or 2 days that works with your schedule at your school was a lot easier than saying, you know, early childhood is on March 15th or whatever that might be. That does mean a change for our evaluators. So I do want to mention that. We are going to use fewer evaluators. So we're going to really make that a smaller pool of people. We're going to ask them to evaluate for 3 nights, but we are going to pay them a stipend to do that this year. And that's a huge change from what we normally do. I can tell you we won't be doing it next year if we can help it, but we feel like we're asking a lot from those evaluators, and we want people that are adept at using technology so we don't have to handhold them through that process. We want people that are familiar with family consumer sciences concepts and then FCCLA projects. And so if you have recommendations for that, I'm going to put in the chat that you can email those to Renee Sigmund. And she will be sending out something, I think probably maybe Friday or next week, to start soliciting judges. I think it's a good opportunity too that we can reach out to some of our colleagues in other states who are experts and have them evaluate too, and lessen the burden on our teachers who we normally ask a lot of. So if you think that you have someone for evaluating, let us know. What questions do you have about competitive events? The date range will be March 17th, I believe, to April 8th. Anybody have any questions about that?
I guess I do.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So would it be possible to do any of them like during the school day?
Yes. Yeah, so you might be one of the programs that can do that. Lisa, there's probably a couple others that are in the same scenario, and we can do it during your class time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because since mine are from a lot of schools,
yeah,
when they go back to their home school, it's hard for them to get back here. So
yeah. Yeah, so we'll just need to schedule that with you and figure out which judges will be available during the day. But okay. I don't see any reason we can't make that work. We had also talked about maybe starting on some days, starting a little earlier, like 2, for people that maybe could pull their kids in right before the end of the day and get started. So we will work individually with each advisor on setting up the schedule. I will tell you on our end, it's going to be complicated, and this is going to be a huge lift for us. You know, I've already planned that, you know, for those 15 days or whatever, I'm going to have to work every night straight through. But that, I think, our ultimate goal is to make it easier for the teacher. And so we got a lot of feedback that getting the recordings done and getting them posted was one of the issues you had with those, for those of you who competed at nationals last year. So we're trying to take out that recording portion for our part because we don't want that added stress on our students or our teachers. Any other questions about that?
Are you kind of thinking they'll start at like 5 o'clock or what? Because if I start reaching out to former evaluators, like I kind of want to give them a time frame.
Right. So right now we've said anywhere between 2 and 8, and we're going to group people together that choose the same time frame. So, for example, you know, Sarah, if you pick 5 to 8 and Aaron picks 5 to 8 and I pick 5 to 8, we might be a team of evaluators.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I appreciate that. Good question. In addition to state STAR events, state projects. So state projects have been updated to reflect virtual submission. If you have already done state projects in your classroom, I want to tell you that's fine. You just need to take a picture of them and submit it that way. But if you haven't, we have updated the guidelines and the rubrics. And I would like to say thank you to Sarah. I updated them and sent them to her, and she did a once over to catch anything that I missed. And I have reposted them, so they should all be good. And we did a couple of things to try and make it consistent. So portfolios that were originally portfolio books, it's the same thing as, you know, the same papers. You're just going to submit it as one PDF file. And then displays are going to now be PowerPoint. So that's a change, and that is just for this year so that we can submit those electronically and evaluate them electronically. We are going to need volunteers to evaluate state projects. If you know anyone that would be willing to do that, we are not paying for this. So it'll be like normal. We'll give like a Starbucks gift card or something exciting. But we want to make it still possible for students to earn recognition for state projects. Any questions about that?
I do.
Yeah, go ahead.
So like, let's say normally I have a student that would be doing a display board. Does the rubric still like have like creativity?
Yes.
I mean,
yeah.
Are the PowerPoint supposed to be?
It will be, the slideshow will be creative versus the display board.
Okay.
Yeah, so we tried to catch all of that and change the wording in the rubric too, Lisa.
Okay.
We missed something. Please send me an email so we can get it updated. Okay.
Sure.
Only one that's a little bit unique is Learning Pack. And if you have normally done Learning Pack, if you want to take a look at that and send me any feedback, that would be great. Yeah. So yeah, it's not as fun as a display. I know. Yeah. I just hate for kids to invest money in a display that's not going to be displayed, I guess, is my thing for this year, because we know we're not going to have them at the conference. Okay, moving on, baking and culinary. We are looking at finalizing a date, and this is going to be at Ivy Tech Central Campus. So each school will have a time frame. There'll be just 1 or 2 schools there at a time. We won't have a big meeting of any kind because we want to limit interaction between the students. So typically in a kitchen, it'll probably just be one school cooking in that time frame. They'll be in one of the Ivy Tech kitchens. We are finalizing the details, and I'll have that information as soon as possible. And then the awards for ProStart, baking, and culinary will all be virtual. So I hope to get that out to teachers next week. I want to talk a little bit about submission and how you submit your information, because I think this is going to be the hardest part. We are going to use a new system with DLG. So you'll go on and register your student for STAR events. That registration, or for state projects, that registration is due by February 16th. That gives you like 2 extra weeks from when we normally register. You have to upload the project materials, so like the paperwork portion of the projects, by March 15th. So that's still giving you that extra 2 weeks. You know, after when we would normally have conference. So what will happen, this is a new feature on the site. You'll be able to go back into your registration, and next to like Susie's name, you'll be able to upload her file. Next to Johnny's name, you'll be able to upload his file. Now, I have not been trained on this yet. I'm supposed to be this week or early next. As soon as I'm trained on it, we'll put out a how-to guide or a short video on how to do it, okay? A reminder that your students don't have to register for the conference to compete in the STAR events. They just have to pay the event registration. STAR event and state project registration money is due before April 14th, okay? Now, that is in opposition to what will happen with the leadership day, so we'll talk about that in a minute. Any questions about submission before we move on? Okay.
Is it, so let's say somebody is submitting a PowerPoint.
Mhm.
They need to upload it in a view only format, or are they just uploading the link?
I don't know yet.
Okay.
Know that
Because
yet.
I know that was kind of a struggle with judging STAR events last summer. Was
Well,
that
it will, yeah.
and
And
yeah.
they were uploading links to files, and I don't think it will be that way for this. I think you'll be able to actually upload the file. So that's what my training is on, that and how there's actually the virtual judging system where the score sheet will be on the computer and they'll then. So as soon as we know, I know enough to be dangerous. But I do know that Oklahoma, which is a really large state and does districts, they've already used the system for their district competitions and everything worked. So I feel good in that, but we'll see what comes out of it. Yeah, I know enough to be dangerous. Leadership elections will be coming out Monday, and the process to run for state office will be virtual. And what will happen is they will have a virtual time frame where they'll sign on and they'll take their exam. And then they will have a nominating committee meeting where they will meet with the nominating committee over Zoom or Google Meet. And that will be an individual one-on-one time for that student. And then there's 2 open sessions. One will be a virtual round robin where the voting delegates can interview them. That will be on Monday, April 12th. As of today, I'm waiting on some feedback. But the second one will be a virtual business meeting on Tuesday, April 13th. Once that business meeting's over, every chapter will get a SurveyMonkey link to submit a vote. I feel like we are congenial enough to handle voting by SurveyMonkey, and I don't need to pay for a voting system. Some states are paying a lot of money to have a voting system, and I just think for us, that's kind of a waste of funds and times. I trust everyone to submit one vote, and we'll be looking to make sure that we don't have multiple chapters submitting multiple votes. So we can check it that way. So any questions about elections? We are going to still have a fashion show, and we're going to let kids submit for that in person or virtual. The link is already in the packet. So if you have kids that already have a design done, please encourage them to submit that. We want to feature them. And we also, with the virtual submissions, that will be something we can feature on our website. So we're really excited about that. If you can get excited about things during COVID, I guess that's one of them. And then the leadership training day, which is what's replacing what we normally have as conference, that's going to be at Horizon Convention Center, 11 to 7. I think on the packet, I have 11 to 5:30, and I will update that today. The 5:30 is the last session starting time. Lunch will be included for that day, and it will be $15 for students to attend. Now, a couple things I want to mention. Your STAR event and state project money is due by April 14th. Your leadership day money will be paid on site that day. And that is because if we need to cancel because of infection rates or whatever else, we don't have to spend the money and the bank fees reimbursing everyone. So you will bring that money on site and pay that day. Does that make sense to everybody? If you want to attend on April 14th, you need to register by March 15th. So we're trying to keep just 2 dates. February 16th is STAR event registration. March 15th is when you upload all your stuff and when you also register for Leadership Day. We are at this point allowed to have 300 participants. So just to kind of explain the space allocation to you, you know what the ballroom is normally, you know where ProStart is normally, that will be open into one space. And in that one space that normally holds 2,400, we are allowed to have 300. So that could very well change. You know, it could be at that point we're allowed to have 500. And honestly, for us, I think that would be fine for this year. Or it could be that, you know, we can have 100 people. So we'll just have to play by the county health departments. A couple of things we're going to prioritize in attendance is we're going to make sure that seniors have priority for attendance. And then we'll also make sure that every chapter that wants to come is allowed to bring some students. And that day we'll have leadership sessions. It will have award sessions that will be live streamed too. It will have a fashion show and it will have officer installation. So there's some things we're going to miss, like advisor get together reception, some of the other pieces. And I know that's really sad because I think that's time we look forward to, but we're going to try and make this the best we can make it for the opportunity that we have. Any questions about the leadership training?
So, like for me, I'm not bringing students, but you know, I'm still allowed to come, right? As an advisor, we're not going to limit advisors, right?
Well, we're not going to limit advisors up to 300, I should say. Right.
Okay.
I have no choice on the total limitations. I'll have to enforce that. One of the things I think that's going to be really obvious is like parents and guests. You know, they're not going to be able to come. We are probably going to allow admittance for state officer parents at the final session, but not during the rest of the day. And we're trying to figure that out a little bit. I've left a little wiggle room in the allowed participants for the, you know, I have to account for the officers. I have to account for the candidates, those pieces. So I've done that, knowing that, you know, I can let this many registrants in at the 300 mark. That's the other reason we're not going to do judging on site. I mean, we use 200 volunteers normally. That's everyone that could come. We wouldn't be allowed to have any students. And so that's why we can't judge on site. It's just not possible with the space allocation.
Yeah. And participants include everybody, right? Like state officers, advisors, students, everybody in
no,
that.
I've set aside a number of people that cover the 2 state officer groups and staffing around that. So participants is literally registrants would be a good way to look at it. Yeah. Yeah. So we will see. And, you know, we want to be, like I said, seniors get priority. However, if you have a middle school chapter, we're going to let a few students from your chapter come no matter what, right? Because we want chapters represented too. So, yeah, good questions. Any other questions on that? Okay. Awards are going to be virtual and live stream. Medals are also going to be mailed to chapters. The other thing we talked about was maybe if you are not able to attend on that day and you want to have a special medal ceremony, we could have one of the officers present the awards virtually and with one of you handing them out. And we're happy to set that up after the event. So we will just play that by ear and see where we get with that. Any questions about conference, what's happening, other things that I might need to share with you?
You said the leadership day is going to be live streamed. Do we need to pay anything for that, or is it just going to be a link?
It's probably going to be a link. I'm working through that with the conference center right now. It probably won't all be live streamed, just awards and maybe opening. Yeah, and it may end up, I say live stream, it may end up having to be a recording depending on what they think the quality will be to live stream it. That's a good question. Two other things that are coming up, middle school meetup. So middle school kids are gonna have a meeting on January 28th in the evening. Will be very similar to what our high school meeting was like. And we're excited about that. And then Be a Teacher Day is February 10th. Free for students this year. Sign them up if you have any kids that would be interested. Morning and an afternoon session, and it should be a good experience. That's pretty much what I have to say. I'm just ready to answer any questions that you might have.
Just for my clarification. So if they want to do a STAR project, it's $10.
A state project is $10.
A state project's 10, a STAR's 15.
Uh-huh.
And then will there be any cost to attend the April 14th awards?
Yes,
ceremony?
it's $15.
Okay, gotcha.
And that includes lunch. So if the kid was doing April and they were doing a STAR event, they would owe $30 total.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. Does that make sense? They were
Yeah.
doing April and a state project, $25 total.
Okay.
We've drastically reduced the costs this year, obviously, because we know that our students are in need and we know our schools are in need, and we're trying to accommodate you the absolute best way that we can. We won't be able to do this forever, but you know, normally our issue is too many people and trying to figure that out. And so this year we're just trying to be generous and make sure that any kid that wants to participate can. We also still have scholarship dollars from AAFCS if you have a kid that can't afford to pay the $15. I'll be sending those out in the next week or two. Yeah, we'll see. We'll make it work, right?
It'll be fun.
It'll be fine. What's another new challenge, right? I will say that we are trying to be as flexible as we can. So no matter what your school's roles are, your kids can still participate and earn recognition. And we think that's what's most important for the student. So, any other questions?
No.
Well, I miss seeing everyone's beautiful face in person, and I long for those days. And I'm feeling hopeful that I got my mom signed up for a vaccine today. So I feel like the tide is turning in my life a little bit, at least, and hopefully for some of you too, ready for teachers to get the vaccine. And then we can go from there. But if you have any questions, email me, call me. I'll put my cell phone number in the chat just in case any of you don't have it. And you can feel free to call me anytime. Other than that, Monday we'll be sending out some more information, and I'm going to put together a schedule at a glance for Monday so you can kind of see what that looks like over that month of stuff, and that should help you visualize it a little bit better. So that's it. It was great seeing you all. Have a great rest of the day.
Bye.
Bye, guys.